Om Amardeshri Namaha. Our humble pranams at the lotus feet of Amma. A very warm and heartfelt welcome to one and all present here for the grand inauguration of VIDYUT 2025, the national level multifest for Amrita Vidyapeetham, Amrita campus. This year, Vidyut echoes louder than ever to his theme, Echoes of Tomorrow, a call for vision, imagination, and collective action to shape the world we aspire for. The inaugural event will be followed by a panel discussion by our esteemed guest, Dr. Shankar Venugopal, the Vice President of Technology Innovation at Mahindra and Mahindra Limited in Chennai, Mr. S. Ramachandran, the Principal Consultant at Infosys Knowledge Institute in Bengaluru, Mr. Anandan Ayaswamy, CEO of Tenkashi Semiconductors, and Mr. G. Vijay the Founder CEO of Technopark Trivandrum. Discussion will be moderated by Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar, Dean Amrita Campus.
To mark this important occasion, we request our dignitaries to light the lamp. I invite Dr. Shankar Venugopal, Mr. S. Ramachandran, Mr. Anandan Ayaswamy, Mr. G. Vijay Raghavan, Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar, and Brahmachari Achyutamrita Chaitanya to light the lamp.
ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः 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 ध्यायामो धवलावकुन्तनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गी मधुसिद्धसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकामीश्वरीम् ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः।
I request Dr. Shankar Venugopal, Brahmacharya Chaitanya, and Dr. Balakrishna Shankar and Genga Padmagopal to be seated on the dais.
I invite Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar, Dean of Engineering, Amritapuri campus, to welcome the audience.
Om Amriteshwaraya Nama. Very happy that we have finally yet another round of VIDYUT, VIDYUT 25, wonderful festival with this time with a bang, with a difference, with the title of Echoes of Tomorrow. So It's a wonderful festival. It has been, I've been noticing the tremendous effort taken by all of you for our esteemed guests here, for the information of our esteemed guests here. VIDYUT is a completely student-driven techno-cultural fest with a lot of technical workshops, competitions, and all that. We've started it in 2012, and we've been having it pretty much every year, with a break in the middle during the COVID time, etc. And now it is back. So, congratulations to all of you for having set up this wonderful festival. A round of applause from all of you for yourself, please. Yes. Not enough. One more round, please. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, the highlights for this VIDYUT, we have 25 plus technical workshops, 25 plus competitions, very interesting workshops, including inside NVIDIA, innovative vehicle design with Mahindra camper van, then with hackathon, VIDYUT hackathon, hack the future, etc., etc., etc. We have more than 4,000 students registered for VIDYUT, 4,200 and odd. About 300 or 400 from outside, the rest from inside. So really a wonderful exercise. So this time we wanted to do it with a difference. So we wanted more industry experts and people who set the tone for India's growth to be at the forefront of VIDYUT. And we wanted all of you to get a first-hand experience or what shall I say, interactive opportunity. So we came up with this idea of a wonderful panel discussion where we have esteemed experts going to talk about the future of India and the future of all of us. So we have with us Dr. Shankar Venugopal, the Vice President Technology Innovation at Mahindra and Mahindra. Welcome, sir. He's a passionate advocate of innovation and a mentor to future leaders. He's a technology leader at Mahindra and Mahindra, driving innovation and sustainable urban mobility solutions. He is also the Dean of Mahindra Technical Academy and Vice President of Mahindra and Mahindra's Technological Transformation. His expertise has helped the Institute for tremendous growth. We have with us Dr. G. Vijay Raghavan. He is a visionary who has transformed Kerala's IT sector. He is the founder of Technopark, India's first technology park. All of you, applause please. He is the founder and honorary director. More than equally interesting, he is the founder. I just came to know this today, that he is the founder and honorary director for the Center for Autism and Disabilities Rehabilitation. So he works with people with disabilities and finds technological solutions for that. Wonderful, wonderful work. A round of applause for you, sir. Then we have a very, very friendly face, Mr. Ananthan Ayyaswamy. Is driven all the way from Tenkasi here. Welcome, sir. He's a visionary entrepreneur. He's a former engineering director at Intel USA and moved back to India. He is the founder of the Voice of Tenkasi Foundation, and with a mission to transform rural Tenkasi into a self-reliant village. He's works very closely with Mr. Sridhar Vembu of Zoho, and he's also going to head the Tenkasi Semiconductors. He's spearheading the creation of 1 lakh high-tech jobs through the Startup Tenkasi initiative. He currently also serves as the state president of the Tamil Nadu BJP Startup Cell, driving grassroots innovation and entrepreneurship. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Mr. Ananthan Swamy. We have Mr. S. Ramachandran, last but not the least. Work at Infosys, Bangalore. Infosys Bangalore, sir, is pretty much an Amrita campus. You have, I think, more than 1,000 Amrita graduates working there at Infosys Bangalore and at Mysore. And he has been recognized as the runner-up for the Best Ambassador of Infosys in 2017. He was honored with the International Data Corporation Asia Pacific Quarterly Spotlights Award and Leadership Award for the successful rollout of thermal PLM application from GE Energy, a global technology company, in 2012. So we have this wonderful set of panelists. We have a panel discussion about India, about the future of India and technology, and that is something I want all of you to understand. The reason is we are going to make VIDYUT a very, very strong tech science oriented fest where you get the best of industry, the best of innovation, and you get the best of minds to discuss how to take our country forward. We are at the crossroads. We are at you may be wondering why I'm talking about India and not about Vidyut. But see, Vidyut is about all of your effort. You are the cream of Amrita. Amrita is the cream of Indian universities, and at the helm of the change, the educational change that Amma is bringing about. So Amrita is very dearly connected to India's growth. In fact, the very reason why Amrita was created is because Amma wanted a place where scientists and researchers and staff and students will come together and work on cost-effective solutions for the common man's problems. The very reason for Amrita's existence is to find out solutions for India's problems. So that is why I'm talking about India and Indian growth, and all of you, and our vision, Amrita's vision, is very closely aligned to that. Compassion-driven research, education for life and living, and global impact. India focus, our live-in labs. The ashram has adopted more than 2,000 villages across the country. We have the live-in labs program. Our students and faculty work there and try to find a cost-effective solution and go and deploy it. So we have a wonderful set of students here, sir. I want to tell you that, as I was mentioning briefly, we have hundreds of undergrad papers, hundreds of students taking part in live-in labs. So many innovations have come from undergrad students here. So this is a very, very exciting campus to be in, and Vidyut is a very, very exciting festival because you all set it up. So once again, congratulations to everybody, to all my faculty colleagues who have worked night and day to set up Vidyut. And congratulations to all of you. I wish VIDYUT 25 all the best, and have great fun, and have a great festival ahead of you. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. It is our distant honor to welcome Dr. Shankar Venugopal, Vice President, Technology Innovation at Mahindra & Mahindra Limited, a passionate advocate of innovation and a mentor for future leaders. He is the technology leader at Mahindra & Mahindra, driving innovation and sustainable urban mobility solutions. He is also the Dean of Mahindra Technical Academy and the Vice President of Mahindra & Mahindra's Technological Transformation. His expertise in technology scouting and R&D management has helped the institute to pioneer business growth and technical capability building. His vision has helped deliver values through innovation. Sir, we are eager to hear your inspiring words. I now invite you to deliver the inaugural address and officially inaugurate the event.
This will work? Okay. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Gunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Friends, very happy to be back here today on this very special occasion, which is all about creativity and innovation, the kind of ideas that you all been working on. Very, very happy to be here today. So I thought I will pick up a topic that's close to the theme of the event and something that all of you would really care about, which is, we have a good idea. What does it take to translate this idea into an impactful innovation? Because all of us understand ideas and we know how to distinguish a good idea from a bad idea. But when it comes to translating an idea to innovation, it's a bit fuzzy. We don't know what exactly we need to do to make sure that our idea becomes an innovation. So I thought I'll spend a couple of minutes just talking about that so that you can try it out in your own project context and see whether this actually helps you. If you typically take about 100 good ideas, you'll be surprised to hear that hardly 2 or 3 of them become impactful innovations. The other 97 ideas are lost for a variety of reasons. And this is not specific to India or a particular domain or industry. It's an average number across cultures, across geographies, across different domains and industries. The conversion ratio is 2 to 3%. In this very difficult scenario, how do we make sure that our idea is one of those 3 ideas and not one of those 97 ideas that gets lost? So it will be very helpful for us as individual if you are able to figure this out, and also for us as a country, if each one of us figures out and make sure that our idea becomes an innovation, it's going to make a huge difference to the lives of people. It will give you great satisfaction, and it will inspire to come up with many more such ideas. So this is something very, very important for us today, to figure out and practice the right way, translating our idea into innovation. So that's a broad background for what I want to discuss with you today. Okay. Having said that, first we need to understand what is this fuzzy thing innovation is all about, because there are so many different views and perspectives when it comes to what is innovation and what is not. So I will use one particular framework which is very close to my heart, which is the three forces that drive any impactful innovation, which is the desire to make a difference. That's what motivates all of us to pursue an idea. The domain knowledge to make that idea work, and the power to really execute the idea, overcome all those barriers and make it work end of the day. So we call this as the Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti and the Kriya Shakti. These three Shaktis come together to make your idea grow into an innovation. And it's very important for us to understand the interplay between these three powerful forces, because in the absence of even one of those, our idea will remain an idea, it will not become an innovation. So this is very important for us to understand how these three forces come together to shape an idea into an innovation. But this is a very vast topic, so let me just pick two key elements for this in the interest of time, and just share that alone with you so that you can continue to think about these two topics during the course of this VIDYUT event. One is, where does a good idea really comes from? Those ideas which manage to survive all those challenges, all those barriers, and then survive as the 3 out of the 100 ideas. Such good ideas, where do they really come from? Is it from the left side, the logical brain? Or is it from the right side, the creative brain? Where exactly these good ideas come from? And how do we make sure we get more of these ideas? Because a lot of what you learn here in the classroom builds your logical brain and really prepares you for a career where you will be able to apply logic, rational, reason to solve problems, ask the right questions, and really make impactful things. But there is the other side, which is a creative side, which gives you a lot of crazy ideas many a times and puts you into trouble, but doesn't really help you in your exam. For example, the creative brain is not going to help you so much. It's a logical brain where you have learnt all things that have already been done, and you are able to use that knowledge to answer a question and score marks. That's what really helps in the exam. If you try to be creative there, you'll be taking a fairly big risk. But in the real world, in the context of innovation, you need to bring both the logical brain and the creative brain together so that they have a healthy dialogue between the two. As soon as the creative brain throws a new idea, the logical brain should be able to analyze it and tell you whether this is a feasible idea, whether this idea will make money, whether this idea will delight the customer. A lot of things that you need to quickly ask and screen out the bad ideas and prioritize those good ideas. So a lot of the successful innovators, when you look at across industries, they seem to have figured out a way to have a very healthy, continuous dialogue between the logical left brain and the creative right brain. So how do we do that? Is there an easy way to do this? Because if we can do it, all our ideas will become innovation. It's no longer just 2 or 3%, it could even be 100%. So how do you get in there? This is where it becomes really, really important to keep your logical brain quiet for some time. Because if you allow the logical brain to judge your idea, it's going to reject your idea 90% of the time. So very few ideas will really come out if you give the control to the logical brain. So how do you zap the logical brain for a short time, only for a short time, so that your creative brain can do its job, feed you with a lot more creative ideas, and then once the idea grows a bit and becomes a little more strong and stable, then you can bring in the logical brain and analyze and see whether the idea will make sense or not. So this actually helps you from the premature death of very good early stage ideas. So I'm definitely going to come back and teach you a few tools and techniques to actually zap your logical brain and let the creative juice flow from the right brain, the creative brain. But for now, I just want you to think about it. How do you prevent an expert, it's not an expert outside, but the expert sitting right inside your head, sabotaging your new idea? How do you make sure that all your wisdom, all that you have learned in the classroom, doesn't prevent you from pursuing a bold idea, a new idea, which all it needs is passion, creativity, curiosity, and the boldness to experiment? But how do you make sure that you are able to pursue this idea, although the experts all around you say this idea may not work, you are wasting your time? How do you overcome all those objections, all those discouragements, and still go ahead and pursue your new idea? This is something I want you to seriously think about. Keep a conscious check. Am I listening to experts and rejecting my ideas early stage? Or am I bold enough to go ahead and pursue this new idea in spite of the fact that all the experts around me say that this idea may not work? This is something I want you to consciously think about before dropping any idea. Okay. The second thought, which is the final thought today that I want to share with you, is how things have changed in recent times and why it is important, why you are in the best of best times. This is my favorite story, so I want to wrap up with this story. So when I was like you back in college, I did not have the privilege of using exponential thinking. And all of you sitting here today are very, very fortunate because you can think exponentially. So let me explain to you what I mean by exponential thinking. Suppose an electric car today has a range of, say, 200 kilometers. If I set out to make an electric car with a range of 2000 kilometers and 20,000 kilometers, rather than just increasing 200 to 400 or 500 kilometers, that is exponential thinking. A 10x, a 100x, and possibly even a 1000x improvement. How do we get into that mode where we can set such exponential targets when it comes to innovation and disruption? This is a second thought I want to leave with you today. And for this, I'm going to use this story. And this is a story of a king who was very fond of playing chess. So he used to have very regular chess tournaments organized in his court. And one day a wise old man comes to the court and says, let's play a game of chess. And the king was cautious enough to ask him what would be the reward for the winner. And the wise old man says it will be just a few grains of rice as a reward amount. Nothing gold, silver, nothing. Very simple, just a grains of rice. But he said it should be one single grain for the first square of the chessboard, 2 for the second, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048. But remember, it's all just grains of rice. So the king thought, okay, there are only 64 squares in the chessboard. Okay, it should be a reasonable amount. Let's go ahead and play the game. And the wise old man won the game. So the king had to do the actual math. And then when he does the math, that's when he realizes it's a fairly large amount of rice, the reward amount. it adds up to around 2000 times the global production of rice. Imagine collecting all the rice grown across the globe, and you have to wait for 2000 years to gather enough rice for the reward amount. That's when the king realizes that the person who came is God himself, and he builds a temple for Krishna at this place, Ambalapuzha, and this is not too far from here. And since the king could not give the price amount that he had promised, till today they make this prasadam out of rice, pal payasam, and you should taste it. It's really, really very tasty and delicious. And this story gives you a sense for what is exponential like, because it starts with something very small, but before you realize, it becomes something really, really big. And why this is important, because a lot of the technologies that you guys are going to use have already crossed the first half of the chessboard. They are all in the second half, where the technology is growing by leaps and bounds. And if you don't believe me, I'll just give you a quick example. The smartphone in your pocket, the computing power is much higher than the computing power of a multi-storied supercomputer center that I had at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore during my PhD. This is a device that all of you can afford, and it's so compact. And whether we are using that kind of computing power, that's a different question. But that's available to you today. And this is a technology which has been growing, which has been doubling every 18 months. But there are a few more technologies available to you, which are doubling even faster than that. In 12 months and 6 months, you see doubling of these technologies. So friends, you have access to all these technologies today. You may be specializing in just one or two of this, but there are experts like you who are already contributed to the development of the other technologies, and they are readily available to you. All you have to do is mix and match these technologies the right way to solve the problem. But what is important is the problem that you are solving is not a 2x or a 5x improvement. It should be a 10x or a 100x improvement. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes you very, very successful in this VUCA world. When things are so uncertain, one thing that you can be very certain about is the ability of these technologies to help you to solve some of the most difficult, most complex problems. And this is something which is very unique, which is made available for you because it's just lucky that the technologies that we are using have all crossed the first half of the chessboard. They are in the second half right now, and it's so affordable and so accessible to each one of you. So when you are pursuing your innovative idea, when you are building protos and testing, don't limit yourself to only one or two technologies that you are familiar with. Feel free to experiment with the whole set of technologies that you see out here: AI, IoT, additive manufacturing, advanced energy storage, AI, machine learning, you name it. All these technologies are not only growing exponentially, but they are converging to allow you to really pursue exponential goals. This is something very unique. I want you to make sure that you are leveraging the power of these technologies. With that, I want to wrap up my inaugural address today. I want to really wish you all lots and lots of success with the ideas that you are all working on. I'm making sure that each one of your idea really becomes an innovation. And all it needs is only two things. Don't listen to the experts, whether outside or inside your head. Go ahead and boldly pursue your idea. Second is, don't be incremental, go exponential, because everything is ready for you. It's only your mindset that you need to change. Wishing you all the very best. You have Amma's blessings to make all your ideas really grow, prosper, and benefit people. So you're in the best of best place. So all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shankar Venugopal, for giving us insights into translating ideas into reality. Your words echo the spirit of innovation and future-forward thinking, the very core of VIDYUT 2025, Echoes of Tomorrow. Now, let's officially launch the website and mark this digital beginning. Vidyut has always been more than a fest. It's a spark of thought, a convergence of creativity, technology, and culture. Along with this spirit, we are proud to present our official Vidyut website, a portal that captures the essence of this multi-fest and opens new dimensions of engagement for participants, guests, and viewers across the globe. With this, Vidyut extends its digital presence, ready to engage minds, share visions, and echo the future.
Now, I invite Brahmacharya Achyutananda Amrita Chaitanya ji for some felicitations.
Om Amriteshware Namaha. I bow down at Amma's lotus feet. My pranams to the distinguished dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, my colleagues, friends, dear students. As Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar has rightly put it, Vidyut is back. I know all of you missed it last year, but with Amma's grace, now we are all able to take part in the Vidyut activities as well as lead many of the activities. You students are going to lead. You are all really the leaders when it comes to Vidyut. When Balakrishna Shankarji said Vidyut is back, I was reminded about a line from one of the famous Ramayanas. My topic is Ramayana and all those things, you know. I am related to the cultural and spiritual studies school. So in Ramayana, when Rama and Sita is back in Ayodhya after the 14 years of exile, you know, they come in the Pushpaga Vimana. So there is a beautiful analogy or a simile used by the poet. The people of Ayodhya who were standing on the floor were looking above and seeing the Pushpaga, and inside the Pushpaga there was Sita and Rama. And the poet very beautifully, in a very what do you say, allegorically or with a figure of speech, he says, they saw Rama Vidyuda Khanamiva Amaiva Sitaya. Rama is blue in color, black hue in color. So with Sita, it resembles, Ghanam means rain cloud, and Sita is very golden in color. So rain cloud along with lightning, Vidyut. That was how these people, the subjects of Ayodhya, witnessed Rama's landing. So when Rama is with Sita only, he is powerful. So as Sir rightly put, Ichhashakti, Kriyashakti, Ichhashakti and Kriyashakti should be there along with Jnana Shakti. So you all have Jnana Shakti. We in our classrooms acquire Jnana Shakti. But if we want to achieve something, we want to contribute to the world, it should be accompanied with Ichhashakti and Kriyashakti. And Ichhashakti and Kriyashakti are the features or the qualities of Shakti, that is Sita, the Prakriti, and Rama is the Jnana Shakti. So along with Sita only, or Vidyut only, the Ghana, the Megha, the rain cloud shines. It becomes attractive. So now the Vidyut is back. So you all can put your talents into practice. You can manifest your talents. You can develop leadership qualities. You can know a lot of things. As we all know, just after this there will be a panel discussion. Then after that there are many techno-fests. There are many cultural activities. Actually it's a multi-fest. So it is rich with different elements of entertainment, enlightenment, then different types of activities. So Amma's vision about education is that it should be for living and life. So for living, if we are employed, the issue of an education for living comes to an end. It gets fulfilled. But Education for life is a different thing. This education should be with us till the end of our life. We should be learning all through our life. That is what is, and we should learn many other things than the prescribed topics, the prescribed syllabus. So all these are included in Amma's phrase, education for life. It implies that it is a lifelong endeavor. In our scriptures, in the Upanishads, which are the treasure house of Indian knowledges, there is a beautiful saying. When the student finishes his official learning or official education in the Gurukula, in the universities of those times, and when he leaves the Guru, he takes leave of the Gurukula, the Guru instructs him in many things. And one of the instruction is, Swadhyayan ma pramadaha. Swadhyayan na pramadidavyam. Self-study should never be forsaken. Should never leave self-study. Never be indifferent to self-study. Swadhyayan na pramadidavyam. So these types of things, learning all through our life, till the last breath, these all things are part of education for life, which Amma stresses a lot. So all these facilities are made available in our campus, in all the campuses of Amrita Vidyapeetham. And as Swami Vivekananda has rightly put, education is the manifestation of perfection which is already within us. So there is perfection in all of us. We are all potentially divine, potentially perfect. And through education, what we have to do is manifest that perfection. Manifest the skills, manifest the talents, the genius that which is within us, it should be manifested. So for manifesting all our faculties, such programs like VIDYUT are arranged here. This time Amma's special grace was there for all of you, so that VIDYUT could happen. So I take this opportunity to wish all of you the very best. All of you can engage yourselves in different activities and bring out the best within you, intellectually, as well as in your transactional talents, leadership qualities. So everything can be practiced and you can take yourselves to perfection. So with this hope, once again, bowing down at Amma's lotus feet for having given this opportunity, once again, I wind up my words. Wish you all the very best. Namaskar.
Thank you, Brahmacharya Achyutamrita Thairyaji.
At the heart of VIDYUT 2025 is a dynamic team of student cores whose creativity, dedication, and collaborative spirit have transformed vision into reality. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the core team members behind this incredible fest. With immense pride and pleasure, I introduce you to the student coordinators of VIDYUT 2025. Ganga Padmakumar, Final Year Integrated MA English. Akhilesh, Final Year CSE AI. And Karthik, Final Year Integrated MSc Max.
I invite Ganga Padmakumar to address the audience.
Om Amriteshwari Nama. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Amma. Respected dignitaries, Dr. Shankar Venugopal, Dr. G. Vijayaraghavan, Mr. S. Ramachandran, Mr. Ananthan Ayyaswamy, Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar, Dr. S. N. Jyoti, my dear teachers, staff members, and my dear friends. It is with profound honor and immense delight I stand before you on this occasion where 8 months of our dream, effort, and hard work have finally brought the vision to fruition. We have poured our time, energy, and spirit into making this vision come alive. But more than anything else, there was a belief that what we could build together. Since its evolution from 2012, VIDYUT has been a platform where youth, culture, creativity, knowledge, and innovation are celebrated. VIDYUT is not just an event marked on calendar. It is a living expression of the spirit, passion, and dreams of our student community. Over the years, It has grown into one of the most cherished and distinguished fests, not only within our university, but across campuses throughout the country. It represents far more than a series of events, reflecting the very heartbeat of our institution's multidisciplinary vision and the approach to education for life. VIDYUT brings together brilliant minds from every corner of the nation, creating a vibrant space where ideas flow freely and innovation thrives. It is in this coming together of disciplines, of people, of perspectives that VIDYUT finds its true power. On behalf of the whole team of VIDYUT, I extend my sincere thanks to all who stood behind us and supported our visions, especially our most beloved Amma, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, Swamiji Amrita Swarupanandapuri, our campus director Brahmachari Devidas Chaitanyaji, Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar, Dr. S.N. Jyoti, Dr. Nidish M., our dear faculty coordinators, and the heads of all the departments. But as we stand here today, we are deeply aware that we walk on a path paved by those who came before us. The coordinators and teams who led VIDYUT in the previous years have not only set the bar high, but have left behind a legacy of commitment, hard work, excellence, and inspiration. Their journeys, their stories, and their tireless efforts lit the spark in us to take up this mantle this time. To them, we owe our heartfelt gratitude for showing us what is possible when passion meets purpose. Tomorrow, the gates will open to creativity, innovation, music, laughter, and memories that is going to last a lifetime. Let this inauguration ignite the energy that is going to empower everyone who is going to experience it. Welcome to VIDYUT. Thank you.
Thank you for your address. With that, the official inauguration of VIDYUT 2025 has come to an end. Now, let's move on to the much-awaited panel discussion.
The 21st century is witnessing a monumental shift in the global landscape, with India emerging as a key driver of technological, economic, and societal transformation. Titled 21st Century, the Indian Century, this panel discussion delves into India's journey towards becoming a global powerhouse in innovation, manufacturing, digital infrastructure, and strategic policy leadership. With a young demographic, a vibrant startup ecosystem, and a renewed national vision like India at 2047, the country is poised to shape the future across sectors, from semiconductors and clean energy to AI and smart governance. This session brings together visionary leaders and industry experts to explore how India is not just participating in global change, but leading it.
Joining us today for this panel discussion are Dr. Shankar Venugopal, our chief guest for the day, who is now familiar to all of us. Mr. G. Vijay Raghavan. He is a visionary who transformed Kerala's IT sector by founding Technopark, India's first technology park. He is the founder and honorary director of the Center for Autism and Other Disabilities Rehabilitation Research and Education, and a pioneer in autism research and inclusive education. As a former director of the National Institute of Speech and Hearing and a member of the Kerala State Planning Board, he has led several impactful initiatives in health and education. I welcome you, sir. Next, Mr. Anandan Ayyaswamy. He is a visionary entrepreneur, former engineer director at Intel USA, and the founder of the Voice of Tenkasi Foundation. With a mission to transform rural Tenkasi into self-reliant villages connected by electric trains, he is also spearheading the creation of 1 lakh high-tech jobs by 2032 through his startup Tenkasi initiative. He currently serves as the state president of the Tamil Nadu BJP startup cell, driving grassroots innovation and entrepreneurship. In addition, he's a successful real estate entrepreneur and consistent crop producer in Portland, Oregon since 2017. I welcome you, sir. Next, we have Mr. S. Ramachandran. He is a seasoned consultant and researcher recognized for his outstanding work at Infosys Knowledge Institute, Bengaluru. He has been recognized as the runner up by the Best Ambassador of Infosys in 2017. He was honored with International Data Corporation Asia Pacific Quarterly Spotlights Award for Revenue Generation in 2014 and Leadership Award for successful rollout of thermal PLM application from General Electric Energy, a global technology company, in 2012. I welcome you, sir.
I invite Dr. Balakrishnan Shankar, Dean of Engineering at the Amritapuri campus, to moderate the discussion.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Nice to meet you.
Namaskar, everybody. Once again, welcome all of you to this exciting VIDYUT event and this exciting panel discussion. Anandan sir, you were not there when we had the formal thing, so please come. Welcome all of you. So anyway, today, the world is looking at India. And the topic of today's panel discussion is the 21st century is the Indian century. The world is looking at India for a variety of reasons, some good and some not so good. We are at the crossroads, maybe we are at the most critical juncture in our modern history, definitely since 1947. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, the world woke up to India's military responses and might and readiness. And all of a sudden, India is being talked of in a completely different tone than ever before. The India that you are all growing up now is quite different from the India that I went to when I was an undergrad student. The opportunities, in fact, I wish I was a student now. The opportunities, entrepreneurship, companies, even the thinking has changed. So I don't want to talk more than that, and we have wonderful experts here. We have Dr. Shankar Venugopal, S. Ramachandran, we have Dr. Vijay Raghavan, we have Dr. Anantan Ayaswamy sir here. And so I'm going to start off. Sir, I will start maybe from your end and go that way. And then we'll have a back and forth. And then after that, maybe a few minutes at the end, you can get up and ask questions. I would strongly recommend that you ask what questions you want to ask, to whom you say, and all that, okay? So, initial comments from
Sure.
Sri Shankar Venugopal, 21st century, the Indian century. What do you think, sir?
I think it's absolutely true that this century holds a lot of promise and potential for us, especially here in India. Not only to make an impact at an India level, but at a global level for a variety of reasons. And let me give you just one specific example to get started, then we'll hear from all the other experts. So I come from the automotive industry. For a very long time, when you think of cars, you don't think of India. You may think of Germany, you may think of Japan, you may think of so many other countries when you think of cars. But today, we have a chance, we have a very unique opportunity to build world-class cars, not just for Indian markets, but for global markets, and make sure that everybody recognizes India's creative power and engineering talent to build world-class automotives. How it has happened? Two reasons. One is, we are onto a totally new technology which has absolutely nothing in common with the previous technology, which was an engine-based technology. Today we are talking about an electric vehicle, which is based on a battery and a motor. That has got hardly anything in common with the previous technology, the engine-based technology. So it's new for everybody. Whichever country, whichever company, wherever you are, if you are working on cars, electric cars are new for everybody. Whoever can learn fast, experiment boldly, and do it in as short a time, and stay very close to what the customers want, will be able to crack this problem. And the cars that they build will be globally relevant, not just for India. So this is the situation today, where the hardware, everything is standardized. The next big opportunity is what we call as a software-defined vehicle, where you and I will have a car with the same battery, same motor, same everything, but the software that you have in your car is better than the software that I have in my car, so you're a lot more happy than me. And that's a trend. The whole world is looking at differentiation coming from the software. And traditionally, India has been really, really good when it comes to software. And this is a golden opportunity for us, where the automotive has suddenly shifted from hardware to software, a field that we are all traditionally been very good at. So just with this small example, I can tell you that the whole global opportunity is laid out just before us, and we have no baggage. We can easily let go of the previous technology and leapfrog to the new technology, because we have not made big investments on the older one. Everything is new. When a lot of others are hesitating, we can boldly go ahead, adapt the new technologies, stay close to customers, and build products and services that are globally relevant. So just from this narrow, small angle of automotive, I can very clearly say that this is an Indian century, because we have the once-in-a-life opportunity to be a global leader in this very niche space.
Thank you, sir. Your comments, sir,
Yeah,
Dr. Vijayala.
just to start,
Yeah.
starting off, I don't have a doctorate. I just want to make it. No, the reason I'm doing that is a lot of people have earned it, okay? And a lot of people buy it, and I'm not either of those. Okay, anyway. Look, when I look at the topic of this discussion, and you talk about this century, a lot of my career was in the previous century. And the big difference that you see in this century in India compared to the previous century was, in the previous century, we were forced to do certain things. And I give the example of CDAC, which I was initially a part of for a long time. CDAC was started with a 36 crore project, which happened because people like Dr. Bhatkar and Sam Pitroda, Ms. Nambiar, went to Rajiv Gandhi and said, the US have denied us the use of a Cray computer. Many of you would not have heard of those, but the Cray computer was, we wanted it for weather forecasting. The US said it is multi-purpose. The US said it's for multi-purpose, and therefore they will not give it to us. And actually we built it at a fraction of the cost. But you should remember, we were forced into that. Then there was a time when we talked about Jugaad, the Indian Jugaad, where we used to actually do things at a lower cost, fix up with things like that. But that has completely changed today. If you look at the 21st century, and you look at things that we have introduced in India, typical examples, and again, because of the strength we had on the software side, are things like Aadhaar. Okay? Aadhaar is the world's largest biometric ID, and totally developed by Indians for India. Okay, this is a big, almost all of you carry an Aadhaar card, but we don't realize the impact that it has made. The other one is the UPI payments. If I ask you all to collect 1,000 rupees from here, you might find it difficult, because everyone will say, I'll do a Google Pay, or I'll do a Beam or something like that. So that again, we've been leaders in the world on that. Like you said, when it was mentioned, he talked about how we are leading the world there. Then there's the India stack, which we talk about. So when you look at these, very clearly, it is our century. And there are a lot of things that we are doing now which are making a big impact. But one thing which is important, and important for at least all the students who are here, it is actually in your hands. I mean, I'm in my late 60s, okay? And I believe that creative minds, no disrespect to anybody on this panel, but the most creative period is the time when you are here and for the next 10 years, maybe 5 years, 7 years. The most creative mind is that. The biggest problem we had in the past was at that time, there were, again I go back to your speech, there were people who would tell you, it won't work. Okay? And when I came to set up, when I was made the offer to come into Trivandrum to set up the technology park, people said, it won't work in Kerala. You can't do anything in Kerala. All of you are in Kerala. And Dr. Bhatka was my director at CDAC, and I came on deputation from there. There was one person who gave me a piece of it. He said, you go. If it fails, they will say it failed because it was Kerala. But if you succeed, they will say you succeeded in spite of it being Kerala. Okay? So for me, it was a win-win. Either way, I would not lose. Okay? I could go back to CDAC, and Dr. Bhatt would be happy to take me. So the fact here is that, look, don't allow a lot of people to tell you no. Okay? Don't allow people to say it won't work. You try, you fail, no problem. You can fail at this age. You can fail for the next 7, 8 years. You don't have a problem. If you believe in your idea, go forward, do it. And many of those ideas have really happened like that. And don't allow anyone to kill that idea. And with due respect to the professors, I know they are different here, but normally it is your professors who tell you, I have tried this out, it won't work. Okay? But what you should do, you pursue it. Don't tell the professor you're pursuing. You pursue it. If it works, you come back and say, sir, I tried it out, or madam, I tried it out, it's working now. But keep that. Don't allow that innovation thought in your mind, that thought of an idea in your mind doing it. The other thing to be important is don't start copying. And the other important thing, again, I take from your inaugural speech, exponential thinking. If you can't do something which is 10 times better, if you're doing something which is already available and you can't do it 10 times better, don't even try to do it. If you can't make it 10 times cheaper, don't try to do it. If you can't make it 10 times more efficient, don't try to do it, because it is not worth it. If it's completely new, nobody else has it, go ahead and do it. So the thing here is that in the past, we were always doing it incremental. And I'll stop with I started my career with the instruments division of HCL, Hindustan Instruments Limited. And so we used to go to, there was a company called, I think it's still there, called Hindustan Teleprinters in Chennai. It was Madras at that time. So they would say, we got a big order coming, so we want something going. And then we worked with them, and then suddenly you would find that they say, that project is dropped. Why? They were developing something for the Indian Army. But by the time they finished development, there's already a new product coming from outside, because we were always lagging. And that was because we did not have access to technology. Today, we are not even 1 minute behind the technologies that are available around the world, which was not the case in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and even in, by the time it was the end of the 90s, early 2000s, we actually caught up. So you have the same advantage. And for an institution like this where you're studying, I'm talking specifically your institution where you're studying, the kind of freedom, the kind of support that is being given by Amma and the team with her, they're open to all kinds of ideas, which is why you find a lot of innovation happening. So don't allow things to go back, and you have no excuse today. You can't say, I don't have access to that technology, or I don't know what's happening. Everything is at your fingertip. As a student at Princeton, or a student at Harvard, or a student at Stanford, and you have access to the same information. The big difference is you can do it at a fraction of the cost of what they can do it there, just like our Indian space scientists have done with our launch vehicles and our satellites. So definitely, it is our century, but remember, we are only into 25% of this century. There is another 3/4 of the century left. And that is the century that you will be driving. And which is where I know Hari and others here, there's a group which we talk about. I know, don't think it's just Kerala, but we call it Think Kerala. And we are getting young people below the age of 30 to start thinking of what Kerala should be in 2047. And you should be working in that direction. But there is no point in people like me trying to drive that, so we have young people driving it and going forward. So I think it's necessary for each of you to say, I am going to make a difference to this country, to the world. Thank you. I don't have to go a little bit more time than I should. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Ananthan, sir, from Intel and your experience here, please, your comments on 21st century being India's century.
Namaskaram, sir.
Yeah.
Mic okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Namaskaram, sir. Pranams, humble pranams to Amma. And my pranams to you all, sir. It's a privilege and honor to be here, and thank you for having me here. I was here a couple of months, I think a few months back here in this very same hall, and pretty happy and privileged and honored to be here. And every time I come here, I learn, and that is the reason why I drive all the way from Tenkasi. And it is wonderful to listen to you, sir. I'm a big fan of you, sir. So, stalwart, I would say. You are the pioneer and you're a role model for the rest of India in terms of setting up Technopark. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Well, in terms of 21st century is India's century, I see it as two parts. One, I definitely believe and echo what both of those stalwarts have already said. I was just reading the other day in a newspaper in terms of top 20 innovation that is happening and developed by under 30s. There is a team of people in Bangalore who is developing, UAVs, unmanned drones. That is not necessarily you call it as a drone, that is actually flying above 40,000 feet above sky, and that can potentially act as a missile and whatnot. That is deep tech. There is another setup team in Bangalore that is training dogs to diagnose or detect cancer. There's a team in IIT Madras that is developing something that can fly above the sea level, just a few meters above the sea level, and that can go across the continent. And they're planning on developing such a vehicle of football field size. There's a team that is innovating in terms of air cooling. There's a team that is innovating on energy conservation, for an example. There's so many deep tech R&D that is happening as startups in India, and these are all done by people in 20s, 25s, and whatnot. That is really promising. Sir was mentioning about the age at which the innovation may be coming, and if you compare a median age or an average age of an entrepreneur or a startup founder in America is in the early 40s, whereas it is 27 in India. That is promising. Out of 142 crore people in India, roughly about 45 crore are under 30. That is promising. There is abundant opportunity in terms of human capital. That is the most expensive thing we have ever exported. In terms of, if you look at our import and export as far as India is concerned, the costliest export that we did was the human capital. And if you look at Microsoft, Google, and whatnot, all the companies, the company that I worked at, about 25% of those core engineers are Indians, I think of. Sir was saying, India was different when he was at college. I would say India was very different even 10 years ago. We have come a long way as far as India is concerned, from going from 3,000 startups to 150,000 startups. We're talking about digital payments that happened in the last 10 years, if you look at it. Digital health initiatives that has happened in the last 10 years. Telemedicine is delivering medicine to 32 to 40 crore people in India. All of that is happening. All of that is happening. It is all positive signs. But when it comes to, for this century to be India's century, we still have a long way to go. Yes, we have AI mission. We have AI mission. Yes, the government of India has allocated about 10,000 crore fund. But we are still working on developing an LLM that will compete with the likes of DeepSeek. So we have some way to go. Semiconductor mission, the government of India has allocated more than $10 billion. It'll be at least another couple of years before we'll have And forget about 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer, 5 nanometer. Even to have a fab at 22 nanometer is going to take time. So these are all challenges. And the other challenge that I see is, 2/3 of India is still living in villages. We are all talking about the software-defined cars, software engineering, and you students are sitting in a very sophisticated facility. But I think of someone who's a BD roller, who's in the farming sector, or earning just 200 rupees per day. Right? Well, the software engineers are making in lakhs every month. We have to carry them forward. We have to carry them along in order to see a true Viksit Bharat. And that is what the challenge. There is tremendous opportunity. There is tremendous human capital. But we have a huge set of problems also to solve when it comes to sanitation, when it comes to delivering water. Prime Minister Modi's government is doing a lot of initiatives in that aspect. But think of it. US is nearly 30 trillion economy today. We are 4 trillion. Of course, we have quickly moved from wherever we are to the 4th place now. But in order for us to become a #1 economy in the world, we have been saying we'll be Viksit Bharat in 2047, we'll be #1 economy in the world by say 2047, whatever goal. In order for India to achieve that #1 economy position by 2047, we should be growing at the CAGR of 12% to 13%. That's CAGR. The fastest any country has grown in the world is China, consistently for about 13 years, and the largest growth that they had was around 11%. And that was driven by manufacturing. So there has to be a heavy manufacturing push in India, and that actually creates employment for people who are living in my village. I live in a village today because I worry about those BD rolling women who's making 200 rupees. So imagine today, in the last 15 years, India has been growing at about, say, 7%, 8% CAGR. If we grow at, say, 8% or 9% rate, by the time we overtake America will be 2073. Still within this century, but imagine how many more years it takes. It takes 50 years. So we have to have innovation that thinks about everyone. A rickshaw guy, as well as who is going on a BMW. We have to carry them all together, and that is what I would like you, the student community, to think about. Bring solutions, develop solutions, cost-effective solutions, and we have time and again proved that we can create cost-effective solutions. I was in IAC a couple of days ago. I was in CDAC a couple of days ago. I was having discussion on, the National Supercomputer Mission and building world-class supercomputers that will be in bar with what the likes of, say, Aurora Labs would be building. We would probably building it at 1/5 of the cost of what they would be. But that takes a lot of innovation. That also takes a lot of creativity, and that also driven by creative from women engineer. So in our workforce, even in tech field and medical field, less than the women workforce is not even 20%. And especially those who are contributing to creativity and innovation. So we need you girls, we need you women to participate in order for Mother India to grow and flourish. I'll leave it at there and I'll probably come back. Thank you.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. I have a lot of questions, but I will get back. Sir, Ramachandran sir, please tell me your initial comments on 21st century, the Indian century.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Namaskaram to all. Thank you for the opportunity. So I strongly believe that 21st century belongs to India because of a few reasons. One is demographics. All our esteemed panelists spoke about it. Also, it is a level play field now. There are so many new technologies. Dr. Shankar spoke about electric vehicles, could be quantum computing, could be artificial intelligence. These areas are still picking up. Many developed, so-called developed countries are still struggling on where to start, how to move ahead. So I think it's an opportunity for us since it's a level play field. But that's the positive side of it. So since all panelists spoke about it, let me sound a word of caution. I will also try to summarize or generalize what sir spoke. I think we need to slowly move towards a skill-based society, ecosystem, right? I'm not talking just about Amrita Institute. I know initiatives like VIDYUT focus a lot on practical skill sets. But if you generally look at India as an ecosystem, we are more obsessed with marks, with degrees, with grades, I think we need to move away from that to more of practical, skill-based. Right? We need to have more of hands-on experience, dirtier hands. So what is the proof for that? One simple example, I'll briefly mention that. If you look at our curriculum, again, I'm not talking about Amrita Institute, I'm talking about generally education in India, whether it is schools or colleges. If I were to ask you, right, which one would you prefer, a class or a lab session? Generally, we devote more time to classes, right? Our lab sessions are much less. So that is one proof to show that we focus more on theory than on hands-on experience. So I think we should move more towards a skill-based society. So that is where this book I wrote with Professor L. Prasad from IIM Bangalore, we called it Neo-Skilling for Digital Transformation. By the term neo-skilling, what we said was futuristic skill sets. So this book was released in 2019, I think, in the Future of Learning conference in IIM Bangalore. That was when everybody started talking about reskilling. The reskilling was more for the corporate setup because, again, like Dr. Shankar spoke about Moore's law, right? Moore's law has made many technologies, many skill sets, many job roles obsolete in corporate industry. People had to be laid off. You know, last week Microsoft announced that 6,000 employees are going to be laid off globally, right? And they said AI is not going to replace you. It is somebody who knows AI who is going to replace you. So that is reskilling in the corporate setup. But when you come back to education system for youngsters like you, I think we should focus more on the skill part of it. Again, don't get me wrong, degrees are very important, but during this journey, we should focus more on skill sets. There are many MNCs, very famous ones like IBM, Google, who take people without a formal degree. Can you prove what you're capable of doing? And there are so many opportunities today to display your skill set, whether it's in AI, big data, EV, whatever it be, right? So if you take robotics, for example, it's not just the theoretical classes that we attend, which is enough. You need to get hands-on experience. Have you tried something? That's where your internships, your industry exposure will help you. So Echoes of Tomorrow is a very, very, it rhymes very, it resonates very well with this neo-skilling topic that we had. And again, it is going to take time for our curriculum to catch up, right? You cannot expect textbooks readily available. We are always, again, as a country, we want textbooks, right? We take photocopies of it, we look for textbooks. Quantum computing, generative AI, agentic AI, they may not have a curriculum or textbooks yet. So that's where we need to have a futuristic mindsets, because again, like the other esteemed panelists spoke about, you have an amazing opportunity in Amrita. You have a very amazing foundation. How do you build up on top of it? So as you get to your third year, fourth year, start looking at what are futuristic skill sets for which there are even no curriculums. So whatever you try there will definitely help you. And when we talk about skill sets, it's not just hard skills like a CNC programming, a robotic programming, or Python programming. Soft skills are also very important. Leadership, again, that's where platforms like VIDYUT give you an amazing opportunity to improve your writing skills, your spoken skills. Because believe me, many graduates who come out of our colleges are lacking in these basic skill sets. That is why they are not industry ready. And again, this is not just specific for India. Sir spoke about focus on manufacturing. If you look at US again with the new, with President Trump, there is a lot of push on manufacturing. But a World Economic Forum study found that almost half the jobs that are required for manufacturing, they are not able to fill it because there are not enough people with those skill sets. So a journalist asked Tim Cook a very interesting question. I think this was before the pandemic. He asked him, why do you give all your iPhone and other gadget manufacturing to China? Because now it is changing, right? It's China plus one. But before pandemic, it was all designed in Cupertino, made in China. So we don't have time for you to give an answer. But everybody thought it was because of low-cost infrastructure. But Tim Cook gave a very interesting answer. He said it is because of the skill sets that are available in China. Because iPhone and other Apple gadgets need a lot of high precision. So you need to have people who are skilled in those technologies. So skill sets are very important. Again, lifelong learning is very important. So Amma keeps talking about lifelong education for life, right? Again, many institutions have already realized it. If you look at Ivy B schools like Harvard and Yale, one question the professors had was, people are going to have a career for the next 50, 60 years. How can we teach them all that is going to happen in these 2 years? So they are thinking of making it a 1-year program, and then for the rest of the year, every year you go back to your alma mater for, let's say, a week where you pick up new things. So there is already a lot of push on lifelong learning. It is not difficult to learn all that is required for your career while you're on the campus. So it's very important for you to stay networked with your umbilical cord with your alma mater, your alumni networks. Those are very important. That is also part of skill development. So with that, I'll stop. So your curriculum will not be able to catch up. How do you think of a skill-based education system and not just grades, marks, theory-based education system? So that's a warning that I would say. But this century definitely belongs to India because of the demographics and the level play field that we have.
Fantastic, sir. So many questions are coming in now. I don't know whom to ask first, but I will just take off from where you left. So you mentioned this education. You mentioned that, you mentioned skill set and people have to have the right sets. Marks is not enough. They should have the right skill sets, etc. Now, and also all of you mentioned manufacturing. One thing is, then what do you think about this trend? You go to an average 18-year-old boy or girl today and ask what department you want to go in if you get a BTech. They'll say computer science, okay? And what do you want to do after that? I want to get a software job. There's no manufacturing emphasis on that. Now we're going to have very soon millions, and already you have, millions and millions and millions of software graduates with no manufacturing skill whatsoever. And now generative AI has taken away their coding skills also. So you don't need to learn coding also anymore. So what happens then? Do you think the computer science bubble is going to burst? That's my question for you.
So yes, sir, my answer is definitely the computer bubble is going to burst, but burst in the sense I think it is going to become an integral part of every other discipline. You don't need to study computer science as an exclusive thing. It's like learning Excel or even operating a computer, right? Whether you do civil engineering, mechatronics, mechanical, whatever it be, you need to have basic fluency in computing and programming. I think that's going to be what's happening in for computer science. Whether it is generative AI or any other technology, you should learn to, you need not know how to build an LLM, but at least how to use it in an ethical way. So that is going to be a bare minimum. To your point on manufacturing, how do we convince people? I think we need to create more of awareness. There are so many role models who have excelled in manufacturing. Could be organizations, could be individuals, like our BrahMos missile is one example. We have 17 countries who are waiting in a queue to order BrahMos because of the success we saw in Operation Sindoor. But do our youngsters know about it? Do they know who's the architect behind BrahMos? Do they know about DRD, Dr. Ramarao? Many people don't know because we are a very conservative country. We don't like to tom the good things that we do. I think that should change a bit. So we have been trying a bit to do that as part of, I'm from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore. So we started a series of alumni. We wanted to interview Dr. Mailsamy Arnavdarai. So many amazing alumni. We have not just from one institution across the country. I think that awareness is lacking. Dr. Srinivasan, the nuclear expert who passed away recently. So many such examples. Our youngsters don't even know these names. So in one word, I think it's awareness that will improve the interest in manufacturing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for mentioning BrahMos. You mentioned the Chandrayaan. The rocket that we sent to the moon cost less than the movie Interstellar, which was about going on. So that, with that, Dr. Shankar, my question for you. You said, see, now the cars have more software. We are already very good in software. On one side, we have BrahMos, we have DRDO, pockets of excellence. We have BrahMos, we have DRDO, we have, the BrahMos missiles, we have Agni missiles and all that. Everything is indigenous. We have Chandrayaan, which had so many indigenous components to it. But on the other hand, we have yet to make a jet engine.
Sure.
And we are not making world-class engines.
Sure.
We are not making world-class high-speed valves, nor chips. So what do you say about that? How come there is this pockets of excellence? Is it because we are not, the country is, don't you think India should rethink its priorities and focus more on hardware, and we have done enough on software, and there should be some concerted push towards that?
Sure, sir. I will build on what Ram said. Because Ram and I, we wrote a book a couple of years back called Mobility Engineer 2030. So this mobility engineer is a new word because we know a mechanical engineer, we know an electrical engineer, but who is this mobility engineer? A mobility engineer is actually a mechanical engineer, an electrical engineer, an electronics engineer, a computer sciences, and a designer, all put together. But if this is what the industry needs, even to just specialize in mechanical engineering alone, it takes 4 years of effort. How do you squeeze all this into a 4-year curriculum? This is really a wicked problem to solve. But we have only 4 years because we want to learn as quickly as possible, go ahead and do things rather than keep learning forever. So this is the scenario because mobility is fine, it's for automotive, but a similar requirement is emerging in many other domains also. So one thought is a core shell kind of approach, where the core is whatever you have been learning, mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. But that's only one part of what the industry is looking from you. Second part would be all the adjacent domains. a little bit of everything so that you'll be able to work with all the other engineers in a cross-functional team and deliver things. You understand each other's language. So how can universities give that exposure of electrical engineering for mechanical engineers or mechanical engineering for electronics engineers, those kind of bridge courses, because that can make a huge difference from the perspective of how Indian companies can build global products and take to global markets. That is one gap in terms of skill that we badly need, but we are unable to do it in a very quick way. The second layer is AI and data science. Whichever branch you are in, you need to know enough of AI, machine learning, and analytical tools so that you can look at existing data and draw quick insights rather than trying to do everything yourself. That's the second layer. The third and the most important layer is innovation, design thinking, and problem solving. If every engineer here, irrespective of what the domain is, they're able to build these three shells on top of the core, then we can truly build world-class products and be global leaders in any field that we choose. That is what is the need of the hour. And it's not too difficult to redesign our curriculum such a way that we create students who are industry ready, not for just for India, but globally, because there's a global demand for such students. They can go anywhere and work today if you are able to do it. So I think that's what we need to really focus on, rather than talking about hardware versus software. Be it hardware or software, that adjacencies that become very important so that we have a reasonable breadth, not just depth. If all of us have that kind of a T kind of a profile, I think then we are ready.
Fantastic, sir. That reminds me, in US, I came across a college called Harvey Mudd, which is very difficult to get in. There are no departments in that. There's no mechanical, civil. They're all problem solvers. So do you think we should redo the curriculum of all
Absolutely,
of
sir.
We should redo the
Absolutely.
curriculum.
Sure.
So first, education paradigm should
At
change.
least the undergrad program should be just engineering program.
Engineering.
Because
Get away with
if you
departments.
walk to Mahindra Research Valley, you don't see those departments. Everybody is working together and doing everything. So I think the classroom should reflect the similar philosophy, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before I come to you, one question for you. What do you think about the future of semiconductors in India? Will we be making our chips soon? Your Tenkasi semiconductors, please tell me.
Directly on semiconductors, I think we have a great future as a country. We have started, we are in baby steps, I would say. Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnav also have recently showcased or demoed a few products from a few companies. I was at CDAC a couple of days ago, and I was talking to the ED, Executive Director there. He was actually showcasing about 87 chips that was actually made in India, designed in India, manufactured in India at SCL in the last couple of years, and almost all of it is coming from academic community. Although I know there is at 130 nanometer chips and whatnot. India has a huge set of semiconductor design engineers. Worldwide, if you think of it, compared to software engineering, the total number of semiconductor design engineers in the entire world will be probably about not more than 30,000 engineers, I would say, in the world, and India has at least about 10,000 of them, so which is a good sign. So we have 1/3 of those engineers. So we know how to design. It's a question of manufacturing it, and especially in the state of that node. And when it comes to that, it is not about just knowing the physical sciences, doing the design rule checks, and coming up with design rules, process files, and whatnot. It is also for us to have the ability to manufacture those machines who does the which does the lithography and whatnot, right? You all understand. So the kind of lab research kind of facilities, although they have now set up shops in India because they want to cater to some of the initiatives that is happening in India, but the research has to happen in terms of building those machines indigenously. And these are all some deep tech, real deep tech as we talk about, and it's going to take a few years. But I think we will see chips coming out of India in a mass scale at the advanced nodes in probably about 5 to 7 years time frame is what I think, because this is also one of the industry that needs huge capital, as we know. To set up a 5 nanometer node even today, 5 nanometer node is relatively mature node today, to say, and even that takes about $6 billion, right? That's a huge investment for anyone in India. Now, so I'm very optimistic, but we are at baby steps, but we are also thinking and acting exponentially when it comes to this field in India. So it's a matter of, I would say, 5 to 7 years before we see. There are some automatic chips in the silicon carbide technology, not CMOS technology, that is going to come out soon. But really, we have to making chips in CMOS at the likes of 3 nanometer, 5 nanometer. That's going to take some time. Necessity is the mother of invention, as you know. Going back to, I wanted to add a comment. Government of India is able to create those rockets and send, satellites to moons and whatnot, because there was a necessity.
Yes.
When it comes to private sector, there was not a necessity. That level of R&D did not happen in our private sector for years and years and decades, because primarily the business powerhouses in India were trading houses, if you
Yes.
look at it. I wouldn't name those businesses, but all of the top 3 or 4 businesses in India, if you look at it, they're all primarily coming from a trading family. They organized, they set themselves as a trading businesses. They never invested on, building something like a General Electric, what General Electric would do. If India had embarked on that 50 years ago, that they wanted to make a rocket engine, India would have made, because India made cryogenic engine after all with the same engineers. And imagine the engineers at DRDO and CDAC and the likes of CDAC, VL, and whatever, right? They're all paid 1/3, 1/4 of what the private sector is paying today, and they are still making those cryogenic engines. So it's not the money factor. It is about creating that environment in India. Unfortunately, the private sector didn't do it, and that is what my guru Sridhar Bambu has been emphasizing. He has been writing very often, and he has been very vocal about inviting private sectors to invest heavily in R&D, and that is what is needed in every sector. Once that happens, then there will be when we see that as a necessity, then innovation and expansion will naturally happen.
I really hope so, sir, because I heard of semiconductors now coming, fabs in Gujarat, Hyderabad, etc.
Yes.
I am from the semiconductor industry myself, and I know I worked in the semiconductor industry, at least in semiconductor equipment manufacturing industry. You need everybody. You need mechanical, electronics, chemical engineering, everything. For example, for cooling the chips,
Right.
you need incredible thermal engineering. So I hope really that comes, because then a lot of core jobs will come again and manufacturing will pick up. So that brings me to you. Sir, you set up this IT sector in Kerala with great challenges. And they told you if you set it up, it will be because of you. And if you fail, then you can say it's because of Kerala. Has that changed today? Do you think...
I think things have changed, not only in Kerala, nationally also things have changed. And that's where I talked about, earlier we were following. Today there are many areas where we're leading. But one thing I should say, especially because you have faculty members, people like you, the dean who are here, the engineering curriculum has been diluted over the last 30 to 40 years. Okay? Because when I went in for my engineering, I took an electrical engineering. It was not even electronic and it was electrical engineering. In my first year, I had a smithy class, I had a foundry, I had mechanical drawing, I had survey, I had civil engineering class. Second year, we had the same thing, except survey, we didn't have sessional marks, so none of us bothered. But the fact is that engineering somehow, and in a way, I'm part of the IT industry too, I blame the IT industry, and I blame all those running universities for the dilution in the engineering thing, because actually what engineers were taught in the past was problem solving.
Exactly.
Okay? Unfortunately today it is equivalent to saying that I have an MBBS pediatrics or an MBBS ortho. The guy doesn't know anything other than that, doesn't work. So I think maybe Amrita should take the lead. And like he was telling, very clearly computer science good, but that's one of your optional subjects. Okay, you need to know basic engineering. And for me, for many years I thought, all this I learned, where was it useful? But for me, when I became the CEO of the technology park in Trivandrum, a lot of it was civil construction, steel fabrication. Then my first year in civil engineering helped me. First year of my whatever I learned. So the thing is that it also helped in terms of the way you think and the way you solve problems. That is one important thing. The other one, which I should tell, especially for the younger people here, that all of you are very lucky people. Okay, you are lucky not only because of the time that you were born and you are here, but you know, across the country, the number of people who get access to higher education are very limited. Okay, I mean Kerala we talk of 40%, nationally it's about 20-25%. But remember, there's a large portion of people who have not got this opportunity which all of you have. And you've got a better opportunity because you were studying in an institution like this. So you owe it back to society. And how do you pay back to society is the way you will start thinking now. And which is where the thought process has to change in the way we work. And I work very closely with the disability sector now. So I would say, look, you need to think of what I do, how will it impact society long term? How will it help that poor person who bought a soap and that percentage of tax that was paid for that helped you to complete your studies? Now you may say, I study in a private institution, but your professor studied in a government college. Or you studied in a government school. So you owe it back to society. And for us Indians, and especially people in Kerala, we have no problem giving money to temples, mosques and churches. Okay? But we have a big problem funding a charitable institution. So very clearly it is necessary for the thought process to change. Which means again, I'm just going back, sorry for, see, but you know, there was in my pre-degree days, I had a civics subject. Okay? In schools, you had a moral science subject. We don't teach those anymore. Even in Kerala, for example, physical education is not there in the schools. I mean, we have tried to create a society which we have no clue about. That has to change, and it is institutions like this and young people like you who will be able to make that change. So it is necessary for the thought process to go. And I'll just conclude with a few things. I think what should really happen is today we are all talking about AI and ML. Can you start thinking of AI and ML which will help agriculture? Can you think of AI which will help health sector? Which will help governance? Which will help people with disabilities? Okay, then we talk about quantum computing. How can we look at all this helping in governance and areas like that? In fact, I was very happy to see somebody from the mathematics department here.
MSc Mathematics, yeah.
MSc Mathematics, somebody was
one
here.
Of the team.
MSc Mathematics was there. English was there. Actually, if a person in the second year of engineering can learn a little bit of social sciences, okay, he will be a much better engineer than somebody who doesn't touch that at all. Okay, so we had, for example, we had economics in our second year. I don't know whether we teach that anymore. So the thing is that it is necessary for us. Also, there is nothing wrong if a person in the third year decides to take one paper in music or one paper, and you have the advantage because you have a university with you, and in that university all these subjects are there. The other big thing, I mean, I see Swami is sitting there. For us, actually, culturally, there is so much about Indian culture, so much about spirituality that the world really is looking forward to. Why can't we use these technologies to let the world know about our culture? Let the world know about the various things that we've done in the past. Now, I know there's always a controversy about, Swami talked about the Pushpa Vimanam, which means very clearly there was something at that time. But the moment you talk about saying that, we had many of these things in the past, people don't really, they're just talking from somewhere. But I don't know how many of you know there was something called the Kerala School of Mathematics. Okay, it was around Irinyalakuda. Okay, and there was something near Malappuram. And when Dr. Valyathan decided that, I was on the State Council on Science and Technology, decided that we will set up something called the Kerala School of Mathematics. We said we'll do it in Calicut because it's very near Malappuram, where there were some Nambudiri illams where this was taught. But the problem is that we don't talk about that anymore. All right? A lot of theories are there. And I was talking to you about Jyoti Nair earlier, who was involved, Prem Nair and something. Jyoti Nair, the first person who told me when I just completed my engineering about certain things which are there in our Vedas, which actually talk about things which modern science is talking about today. So it is not, we should not go on that to say that is what you should do. No. We learn about it and we use it. So what may happen is when you go in that search, you will find things which modern science hasn't yet found out. So that thought process, which is good that you have a department like that in this university. Can you get all that integrated and make you what I would say a whole engineer, not just an engineer who knows a little bit on semiconductor or a little bit on this thing. And in fact, I remember when I was in the planning board, one minister came up and said, we want to start a new degree in biotechnology. I said, don't, okay, because it's a specialized area. And then the same person comes in, I heard of artificial, shall I start a Bachelor of Artificial Intelligence? I said, you just do Bachelor of Engineering, and then they can do this in their postgraduate or doctoral areas. So clearly we need to avoid over-specialization, but we need to make people whole socially committed engineers, okay, or socially committed individuals is what our curriculum and other areas should be working towards. Today, we are creating people who, and I say, and I know with due respect to people who work in the software industry, 90% of those who work in the software industry can do that work without getting an engineering degree. Because a lot of work that is being done, except I would say 10-20% product company. I mean, Sridhar did an excellent product company. I know a few companies in Trivandrum, Suntech, IBS who've done product companies. But otherwise, you are doing work which doesn't need a +2. Okay? So in fact, I've gone to engineering college and said, what is the minimum qualification for a clerical job? And they'll say, BCom. I said, no, engineering. So we need to change that. And only you can change that. So it doesn't mean that, no, I give up my engineering studies today. Don't look at it as an excuse. You need to get your 70% plus if you want to get into the right college, right institution, but you have to do your master's. But it is necessary for you to start thinking differently from the way a lot of people are thinking today and taking on jobs which really you create something where you're adding value to society and to yourself in the process.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for bringing in the spiritual angle. Amrita definitely has that. I mean, founded by Amma. We have a school of spiritual sciences.
Yeah,
we have value education and all our courses. I don't know how much of it is actually translating on the ground, but we are trying. There's a lot of wonderful themes have come out, manufacturing, semiconductors, but all of them have agreed that we need a change in the curriculum and that our education system needs a revamping. I don't know if my students will agree with that.
The staff have to agree first.
The staff has to agree first. And if you want to teach a new curriculum, the first thing you have to do is train the teachers because they have been trained in the old one.
That's true.
So that is another. So it's a wonderful panel discussion. Thank you. But we are running out of time. And I want the students to come in. And questions for the audience, please. Can get up, ask your questions. Another 10-15 minutes or so for our panelists. Wonderful themes have come up on manufacturing, then bringing everybody along, changing the curriculum, software versus hardware, etc. Indigenous, cost-effective solutions. Yes, Gayatri. Yes. You can introduce yourself.
Namaskar, I'm Gayatri. I'm working with the Electronics and Communication Engineering Department here. My question, before that, it was a wonderful discussion. In fact, I did not want it to end. I am really honored to be listening to all of you here. I wish we had more time to have, gone a few more rounds. My question is this, it's something that we already know, the threat of brain drain that we are facing. Especially in Kerala, there have been a lot of news reports which say that Kerala is fast moving on to become a geriatric society. There are a lot of articles have also come in that regard, and I'm sure it's not going to be long before many pockets in India also many places in India face the same issue. On interacting with several youngsters, because I do travel around for many of the camps, Ayuth camps, where Ayuth is the youth wing of Matamta and the Maimat. So when we discuss with a lot of youngsters, there are many youngsters who are willing to do not so challenging jobs just so that they can experience a better quality of life abroad versus taking up a challenging startup job in India because they feel that India cannot provide the quality of life that countries abroad can give. What can be done to change the mindset of youngsters, to motivate them to stay in India, to instill a sense of patriotism in them, which I think is extremely essential for India to grow as we want Bharat to grow. So that's my question.
Sure.
How many of you have voted in the last election? Can you raise your hands? Good. That means there is a societal interest. If I ask this question to people in your age group, you'll not see more than 10 to 15. Okay, so the thing is, I would say yes, people are going, but one thing which all of you must realize, especially younger people, you will have sisters, brothers, friends. Again, a large portion of those who go abroad for studies are not going to good institutions at all. Okay? In fact, you will get better education in India or in Kerala in institutions which are not even as good as yours. But they go and they go because there is this thing in their mind that I have to go to UK, I have to study. I had a very interesting case actually. I think that girl studied in Amrita in Coimbatore. I'm not giving the name. She was here, she was working with a good company in Bangalore. She wanted to do a master's in data science and went to some university in the UK. And then her father called up one day and said she did this, she worked there for two years. This is the area she was working on. She said she wanted to do data sciences and went there. And then now she wants to come back. I said, why? She said, I know that's what she's telling, but she has a job there. I spoke to her and after somebody said, what are you doing today? She's actually doing service in McDonald's because she did not get another job. And a large number of people who go to Australia, who go to Canada and to the UK are just doing that kind of work. But they don't want to come back because they don't want to, the parents have taken a loan and they've gone. We just need to talk about real cases like, in fact, one of the studies which Think Kerala is working on is on something like this. Telling people of case studies of what has happened to children who've gone. It is pathetic. It's very sad. I saw a girl, actually somebody who came and worked with me at the autism center after she studied at the international school. Okay, family. And then she said, I want to do 1 year because my admission next, I'm going for BA psychology to UK. And I said, why? He said, you go for a master's somewhere, good university, okay. No, sir, it will be much better there. The problem is somehow we are giving people a feeling that this place is not good for us. We should remember that, we are probably much better than many other places around the world. And people don't talk about it. Those who go to the US, many of them don't come back. Those who went to the Middle East come back, they send money back because they can't stay there for long. So you're actually, what you said is right. There are many places where you will only find homes with very old people. That has to change, and we need to change that together.
You want to try that? You came back from Intel. You want to add to that answer?
Sure. Let me ask you, and this, if people in the audience, how many of you want to go to the likes of US or UK or Australia after your graduation? Please raise your hand.
Come on.
So
He's
don't be
asking
shy.
how many of you want to go to US or UK or Australia after your graduation? 1, 2. That's all?
Yeah. Even I would raise
Come
my
on.
hand. Yeah.
Be honest.
4,
Please be
5.
honest.
Raise it high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
they're raising
8,
now,
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Slowly.
Okay, more hands coming up now.
Slowly. Are you shy to say you want to go to America? Why are those hands raising? Slowly. Well, think of it. When I was a student, when I was in bachelor, we were about 50 students. I think 48 of them went to US to do masters. I was the only 2 who remained in India, and I also ended up going to US, and I lived in US for a couple of decades. Now, when I asked many of my classmates when they were going to US, and that is what I see it even now, reward drives behavior. The reward could be money, but the reward could be lifestyle. Now, India has started to offer the same kind of reward, especially in engineering field, especially in software field, in India. But the lifestyle that they long, they are, the fancy thing, the passion that they have for driving the likes of, say, a BMW 7 Series, the likes of driving a Tesla, Let's be honest about it. You know, the wide roads, clean roads, freeways, national parks, weekends, long weekends. Those are the things that we actually see in movies. We want to have an experience of it. Perfect. Mahagavi Bharati said, Sendriduvirattu. That is about 100 years ago. The great poet, the sage Mahagavi said, Sendriduvirattu. Go around the world, explore. But he was also saying, come back. You get what you have to, but come back. Now, for someone who lived in America for 20 years, or more than 20 years, although we were in America, we were, I was driving all kind of cars, fancy houses and whatnot. There was a longing in me, in my family, and it was still there, and everyone. We still lived as a small group within America. Even today, if you go to America, there will be a Malayali group, there will be a Tamil group, and then within a Malayali group, there will be a, this group, that group within a Malayali group. That is how it is. So we still live as a small group even in America. Let's accept it.
True, very true.
Because that is where we get the comfort, the belonging, right? You don't necessarily go and live with or mingle with a white American there. You don't necessarily go for a dinner or a lunch meeting with a white American there unless it is a technical discussion or something. But we go there for whatever reason. Now, what is the reward? I mean, and when it comes to, say, Diwali, Pongal, or whatever festival, we always long for it and we want to come back here. I mean, we say, I wish I was in India at this time. This is the reality. And they still feel the same. But why are they not coming back? And that is something fundamentally the policy makers have to think. Now, a good comparison would be Israel. Because, America, the likes of America and Australia and much of those countries, if you see, those are all planned cities. Before a house is built, there has to be sanitation, there has to be water, there has to be electricity, there has to be road, there has to be, ADHD compliant driving spaces and whatnot. But India, as a country that is built over multiple centuries, we have narrow roads, by-lanes. We can buy a Tesla if it becomes available here, but you'll not be able to drive it to your home as what it is. Right? So that's a reality. Now we have to see Israelis, although they are exerting greater control on what happens in America. They're exercising larger control whether it comes to financial market, whether it is defense or policy making, whatever. But most Israelis actually remain in Israel, if you look at it. They travel to America, but they choose to come back. They live in Israel. And I draw Israel because Israel is also a similar, culture and a country and a place like India with thousands of years of history, with narrow roads. There are places, I went to Israel multiple times, there will be large, big cars, but you wouldn't be able to drive to the road. And they still, there are parking facilities that you have to park a mile away and you still walk. So it comes back to, making our people understand, taking pride in what we are as a society. And that has to happen here in schools and colleges. And we lost all of that. I was curiously listening, when he was studying engineering, there were many more things that he was. Right? Now, reward always drives behavior. Reward drives behavior. We have to see, it doesn't have to be necessarily monetary things. As corporate has to now think, have to think about what kind of works and benefits they can possibly offer to their employees. In terms of, after Corona, the possibility of employees working from home. Now, every company is asking them to come back to work. Every company is asking them to be situated in the likes of Bangalore and Chennai and Bombay, where it takes hours and hours just to go from airport to your home. The companies have to think about offering some of the benefits that are true luxuries for those employees, allowing them to work from wherever it is. And that is why, if you look at it, Zoho as a company, if you look at it, the attrition in Zoho is very minimal. Because Zoho is having companies at, you name it, a small town. Zoho's software, the head of software security is actually living in a village called Peravurani in a coconut farm A hut is his office. There are 30 engineers, and he is building world-class security software that is going across the world. And he doesn't, he doesn't want to leave that village, and Sridhar is allowing him to work from that place. That is his luxury. That his ability to walk around his village in the evening and still go back to his computer and develop those world-class technologies. Why is there's a feel in this corporate world that every company has to be set up in Bangalore. If it is a startup, it has to be in Bangalore. If it is a startup, it has to be in, IITM Incubation Center. And Government of India, whoever it is, would fund those projects only if it is situated in an incubation center. So we have to be, as a policymaker, and we are coming a long way, but this is not going to happen unless and until the corporate world rethinks in terms of how they reward their employees. And coming back to curriculum, I wanted to say this, and I want to take this opportunity. Right? We can come with all kind of curriculums, but when it comes to what we need as a corporate intervention is, India needs more internship. There is no concept of internship here in this, in most companies here, as much as I know. I was in Intel, and about 5% of the workforce typically comes from internship pipeline, if you look at it. Because the companies are investing in those students for 3 to 6 months, and obviously you want to convert them as employees. It gives an opportunity for them to think beyond what they are studying at classroom. And then there has to be more hackathons. And in hackathons, you typically go and solve real-world problems. Amrita is doing a wonderful thing with the Living Labs, and that has to be extended. So really, the change has to be driven by corporate, the likes of all the big companies that is in India. Some companies are leading that way. Think of it. And one more thing I wanted to say: 15% of employees of Zoho do not have a degree. They do not have a degree, and more than 1/3 of their employees are not from computer science background, but they are developing world-class products. There is a small set of team who are just 12th graders 2 years ago. They are writing what is a game-changing compiler, and from that probably an operating system will come out of it. And these are just 20 years old. They do not have PhDs. They do not. But they're able to write software, and I see it firsthand. So it's a philosophy. There's also a conviction from the corporate world that you want to make a change, and you want to make it beautiful for those engineers. Once we make it beautiful for those engineers, I bet they will probably take a vacation to Niagara Falls and come back in a week. Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, we are running short of time. They have to go and meet Amma. So one last question, and it will be a very quick answer. Yes. Okay, Arun, ask.
Yeah, go ahead and speak.
We can hear him.
We heard some of it, don't worry.
Go ahead, just continue. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you switch it off.
Hello.
Yeah, good.
I'll repeat my question.
No, you continue.
You just continue.
Don't repeat,
We
continue.
went through 11th, 12th, and we came here through a structure.
Right.
What's
So many students who come here, we tend to follow that line. Like for instance, if I am doing a project in say 2D materials, since there are lack of opportunities, I have to have a backup in say a computer science domain or something like that. And if I don't get into it, if I end up having not enough opportunities in my field, I am stepping off from that track. I'm somehow going backwards in society, and that is the idea that maybe parents have or the society has. Do you think due to lack of opportunities, many people are not following their passion, or due to societal stigma, we are still going into the computer science domain irrespective of your engineering field?
I will take it.
Dr.
Okay,
Shankar,
then
yes.
others can add to that, because I went through this. I have two daughters, one who went to do masters, other is just finished at 12. So we have gone through this a few times. So it all started. Maybe your journey started one weekend when one uncle came to your house. You were still at school, maybe in 7th or 8th standard, and he asked, "What do you want to become?" And you would have told, "I want to become an engineer." Somebody else would have told, "I want to become a doctor." So it starts with that seeding somewhere where you said something without knowing what exactly it is. You just heard about it, you saw many people do it, you said, "Okay, that's what I'm going to do." Fine. Interestingly, when my daughter started her studies at Stanford, the first course they taught was not an engineering course. It was a course called Design Your Life. Design your life. Your life, like any product, can be designed. If you find out what your passion is, what you are really good at, where you can make money, you can combine certain things. You can be a combination of an engineer, doctor, and lawyer also. That is possible perfectly. If that's where your passion is, that's what your strength is. Today's world gives you the possibility to be a hybrid, where you are a mix of three things. And you can pursue all those courses. The new educational curriculum, we can mix and match many different subjects and be so unique that there are very few people like you, that combination of skills. So in the past, as you said, there were certain well-defined tracks and opportunities existed only around those. But today it's not like that. When we go around and hire students for Mahindra, we don't label them as one specific one of those tracks. Not at all, actually. The more cross-functional skills they bring, more readily we hire them, and those are the ones who are doing exceptionally well. And you know, some of our best engineers did not have very good marks on their mark sheet, but we hired them from competitions like Baja, where they built Formula One kind of racing cars and competed. So they're very hands-on. Their knowledge is not just in equations and bookish things, but they can actually build things, translate all that knowledge and make things work. I think that's where the focus need to be. But the 4 years that you spend here, this is the time for you to explore what you really like and what you don't like, where you are really strong. And when you talk to people from industry like us, you should also understand what are the problems that are still unsolved, where there is people ready to pay you if you solve it. These are the things you have to gather and slowly shape up. Don't start with, "I want to become this," and work backwards. Be in a very divergent mode, gather all this data and slowly move towards what you want to become. And if there are 50 people in a class, each one can become something very different. There can be 50 unique skill sets and personalities that can come out of one classroom. That is perfectly possible today, if you don't limit yourself to only the classroom learning. That is 25%. Second 25% is the internships that he talked about. The third 25% is all the hackathons and competitions that you participate. And the fourth 25% is from the mentors. Seek out mentors. Just look at LinkedIn. Look at what kind of people you want to be. Reach out to them and say, "How did you get there? Can you spend some time with me and help me find out what I could become?" They'll gladly help you. So that last 25% comes from people who have already done what you want to do. So I think if you don't limit to only classroom, but if you explore all these 4 paths, you can be anything that you want to be today. That resources exist out there. Sure.
Beautiful answer. Thank you. We'll close unless somebody has.
No, I think he's covered it very well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful panel discussion. We have to
So
close.
one last question to Ananthan sir.
Okay. Make it
Sir,
fast.
can you tell us more about your and Sridhar sir's Voice of Tenkashi and Mission of Tenkashi
Okay.
of Estonia Indians to the
Oh,
The voice of Tenkasi.
voice
yes.
of Tenkasi. Thank you so much. So it was about 3 years ago I chose to return back to India after living in US for 20 years, and there was a longing for me to be a change agent and make a transformation, make a change in India. Um, and obviously we didn't want to boil the ocean. We wanted to pick up a small place and show a difference. That can be probably a playbook probably to repeat somewhere else. That was what. And I've had the privilege of talking to Sridhar quite often, and um, I was asking, fundamentally, the fundamental reason for societal issues is jobs. So we wanted to solve that. We wanted to bring about jobs in a particular. We wanted to pick a district, in the district that I belong to, Tenkasi, and asking him, how do we bring this change? How do we bring probably another 5,000 jobs in Tenkasi in 5 years? He said, and he was saying, you've been talking about Bharatiyar and Peridinum Peridigel, but why are you saying about 5,000 jobs? Why it's not 100,000? So every single time, when you want to do something, so always when we get onto something, we wanted to take references, examples. Was it done before? Was it done somewhere and whatnot? So we looked around the world and came across, should we copy America? Should we copy what is done in, say, Australia or UK and whatnot? But that doesn't fit the kind of situation that we are in. And we figured there is a country called Estonia in Europe. And that is a similar size as a district in India, is district of size of Tenkasi, for an example, a typical district size. And in terms of geography, in terms of topography, in terms of population and whatnot, in terms of human capital available, in terms of number of educated people with the degrees and whatnot. So we studied that, and that country, it was in German occupation, Russian occupation and whatnot until 1996, and in a matter of 15 years, when they adopted technology, they could transform completely, and they scored in the top 10 in terms of Human Development Index, in terms of setting up data centers, in terms of digitizing. Do you know in Estonia, 100% of the voting happens electronically. They vote through internet. And in terms of delivering civic services, government services to them, everything happens through online and whatnot. So we wanted to adapt that as a reference, and we defined a goal to ourselves, Tenkasi as Estonia of India by 2032. Our goal is to create 1 lakh high-tech jobs in Tenkasi, and that is what we have been working on in the last 3 years, if you say. Nothing happens overnight, we understand that, because there are 15,000 population in the district, roughly about 3.5 lakhs graduates in the district, and I'll tell you, 95% of them do not know what LinkedIn is. And there are 13 colleges, there are 5 engineering colleges. There's hundreds of students, thousands of students coming out of it, and they have not heard the name, word LinkedIn. They do not know where to look for jobs, and ultimately, even here and wherever, whether you go to US to study, ultimately, I see that 99% of our people want to learn a job, land a high-paying jobs. So you have to know where the jobs are available. You need to know how to present yourself. So the likes of LinkedIn. So we have started going to schools and colleges and exposing them to the likes of LinkedIn, for an example, spoken English. And also, that is on one hand. And the other side, we are bringing industry experts and exposing them to the likes of artificial intelligence and robotics and mechatronics. And in this process, we have also started something called Valai. Valai is a plantain as an incubator. Within the incubator, we have a company that is working on drone technology, for an example. Tenkasi Semiconductor is incubated within that. There is a company that is working on digital analytics. That is called Aram Analytics. And there is a company that is working on manufacturing. And I talked about BD labors because I care about it, because the transforming a district. Within the 15 lakhs population, about 3 lakh women are BD rollers. So we have to find out, reskill them, retrain them, and find a way for them to have a respectable jobs, and that is also, healthy. So we are also researching what is called, we want those BD rollers to be winding a coil of a motor. So we are, there is something called PyLabs, and we are doing research in terms of developing motors, where we are finding ways, and we are actually documenting for these women to be, coil rollers than BD rollers, because now you can export. And one of the references that we take is from the likes of Switzerland. If you look at it, the Germany, Switzerland, where, and also the likes of Taiwan and China, where the LED bulbs that you see, and small Bluetooth speakers for all of these things. If you think
those are all manufactured in large factories. That's not the case. Those are all cottage industries in those places. In a small hut where they are making millions of LED lamps. And we want to bring those, we want to, set up manufacturing hubs or manufacturing huts in Tengasi where these women, these lakhs of women are actually manufacturing LED lamps or Bluetooth speakers and whatnot. So these are all happening right now. In a matter of another 3 years, I think, there is a power tools manufacturing that has already started. Food manufacturing and food processing. We are talking about, we take a fancy thing, especially for college students, to be purchasing a chocolate that is made in Swiss, Swiss-made chocolate or German-made thing. We are actually working on creating those food products and exporting to Europe, and that is actually happening now. So a number of things are happening, and as far as school students are concerned, we are going to those schools and teaching them spoken English. We are very, very fond and we love our mother tongue. You should, and all of us should. So we love our mother tongue, but although at the same time, we also want them to be fluent in English. So we are teaching and training those school students. Thousands of those students in spoken English, and all of these are all offered for free. All those skill development program that we are doing, are all offered for free, thanks to Sridhar, who is actually spearheading. So a number of things are happening in Tengasi, and we have set a goal that Tengasi will be in Estonia, which means these 15 lakhs people, and there are about 7 to 8 lakh people who are, who can go to work. They will have a respectable, good earning jobs in a matter of another 8 years is what our goal, and we are very confident of making that happen. And we are doing that as a NGO, not as a political unit, not as a policy maker, but we are doing it as an NGO. And Sridhar is very, very fond of it, and he has given all the liberty to me to go do everything and anything that is needed to make that happen. And we have a huge set of volunteers. Voice of Tengasi is a volunteer organization, and there are about 1,031 volunteers who are all graduates who come from all religion, and from all walks of life. And they are a big part of Voice of Tengasi Foundation, and they are making it happen. I think it will be a beautiful story to say in a few years from now. We are just a baby as of now.
Thank you to all the panelists and our moderator for this insightful and inspiring session. Your valuable perspectives have truly enriched our understanding of India's transformative journey. We appreciate your time and contribution. It is time to honor our guest. I welcome Brahmachari Achyutamrita Chaitanya ji to present mementos to our guest. We welcome Dr. Shankar Venugopal to receive our memento. We welcome Mr. Ananthan Ayaswamy to receive our memento. Now I welcome Mr. G. Vijay Raghavan to receive our memento. I welcome Mr. S. Ramachandran to receive our memento.
As we conclude the inaugural ceremony, I invite SK Ananya, Technical Team Executive, to propose the vote of thanks.
As we draw the curtains.
Thank you to all the panelists. I just want to say it's the first time I did a panel discussion, and I wish I could have more time. Thank you all so much. It was fantastic. Ananya, we'll have a group photo, and then you can.
Good evening, everyone. As we draw the curtains on this evening's inaugural ceremony and panel discussion of VIDYUT 2025, it is my honor to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made this event truly memorable. First and foremost, our sincere thanks to Dr. Shankar Venugopal, our esteemed chief guest, for gracing the occasion and inaugurating VIDYUT 2025 with such inspiring words. We are deeply grateful to our distinguished panelists, Mr. S. Ramachandran, Mr. Ananthan Ayyaswamy, Mr. G. Vijayaraghavan, for sharing their invaluable insights during the discussion. A special note of appreciation to Dr. Balakrishna Shankar for his unwavering support and coordination, and to Dr. Nidish M. for ensuring seamless arrangements and extending wholehearted support throughout, and Dr. S. N. Jyoti ma'am and Amrita Chaitanya sir for their presence and continued support. We're especially thankful to Dr. Hariprasad sir, whose constant guidance was instrumental in organizing this event, and to Ashwati Das ma'am for her thoughtful planning and encouragement at every step. We also thank all the chairpersons and vice chairpersons and faculty members for being here with us today. We also extend our thanks to ICTS, infrastructure departments for their seamless support in making this event possible, and to the VIDYUT media team and AOC Amrita for their outstanding coverage and media support. A big thank you to our VIDYUT co-faculty members, Sharad sir, Rahul sir, Amal sir, and all the student coordinators and all committee members who worked tirelessly to make today's event a success. With that, we officially conclude the evening's session. Thank you once again for being a part of it. We look forward to seeing you all at the exciting events lined up for VIDYUT 25 starting tomorrow. Have a great evening.
I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे